So this has been an extraordinary wind season. The windstorm season begins in September. So September 2023, we started to see storms brew in the Atlantic. So now we're in January, we're up to the 9th named storm, which is quite rare, unusual, yes, and it has really impacted the UK in terms of how much rain we've seen and also wind damage. And as I speak, another storm has now just been named, this time by the Irish Met Service, but there still will be impacts across the UK, and this is coming our way through Tuesday evening. So this has been a theme of the weather through autumn and into winter, a succession of weather fronts which have really battered the UK, and the land has had no time to recover. So our resilience is low. And so any wind that comes our way, as well as rain, will have consequences across many parts of the country yet again.
Just to be aware of, all passenger services will be suspended from 1900 hours.
Our winters are going to chop and change. They're not always going to be so stormy. Climate change trends suggest that the UK winters are likely to be wetter as we head into the century, also milder, and we're certainly seeing both of them. But also the other aspect of it is when we see a storm, it's likely to be more intense because there's more energy in the atmosphere. We know that the Earth is warming up, and that's heat energy. And that heat energy translates into the atmosphere in lots of different ways, including storminess. So there's lots of evidence out there now to suggest when we see an extreme weather event like this, it's down to climate change. Climate scientists analyze all the different aspects of that event and look at the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere. And then they run all the computer models again, running that weather scenario to see whether that intensity of event could happen without the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, so pre-industrial times. And time after time, we're looking at what we call these attribution studies, and they are suggesting and concluding that because of the way our atmosphere is now, because we pump so much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and that has a direct correlation to how much heat is now in the atmosphere, that we are seeing more extreme weather. And we're not alone here. We're not an island when it comes to the impacts of climate change. Just last year in the summer, because of climate change, we saw 3 simultaneous continental heat waves from the US to Europe to China and the eastern side of Asia. And this impacted millions of people, unprecedented in terms of how much heat there was and how many people were affected at the same time. So there are lots of different types of extreme we can talk about in terms of weather. So the message is we've got to start future-proofing, basically, because this is not going to go away in terms of whether it's extreme in one sense or another. We're in a different landscape to what we were 30 years ago.
Hasn't happened in probably 40 years.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download MetroTV Extend sekarang.